Good morning. So today we are honoring our ancestors, those who came before, those on whose shoulders we stand, and our loved ones, our friends, family members, maybe who have passed on to the other side, maybe some we feel left us way too early, but made a big impact in our lives. So that's what we're about today. Last year, if you remember, we talked about how in Mexico, around this time of year, right after our Halloween, they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the Dead, which is becoming very popular. I'm just hearing about it, seeing it everywhere now in this country. And, if you're in Mexico at this time, you'll see a lot of skulls, brightly painted skulls, and full skeletons that are dressed in hats and coats and draped in flowers. And, some people think, well, it's a ghoulish thing. But for them, it's an opportunity to honor and commune and connect with those who have passed to the other side. And so they gather together, they do a whole day and a night, and they celebrate this. They remember their loved ones. And sometimes they do a procession to the cemetery where the loved one is buried and adorned in festive costume. We might think Halloween costume, but more it's, a little different for them. And they paint faces and also either carry or wear marigolds, because these are marigolds right here. It's said that the bright color and the fragrance lures the spirits from the grave. And so, and if you come up here, you have to smell it because it's really very fragrant. And then they decorate their houses. They have they call ofrendas, where they put pictures of their loved ones and maybe offerings like beverages and foods that person enjoyed in their lifetime, and again, the marigolds. And so the families then gather and share stories about the loved ones. So keeping the memory alive, you see. Keeping the memory alive. And then they have a feast at the end of this whole thing with their favorite foods and sugar skulls and things. So, it is a thing that many cultures observe in their own way, in a different way. Is Michael Newton here today? He's not here today. He was telling me that the original All Hallows Eve, which, the Catholics came in and took it from the indigenous culture and called it their own. Oh, no, it's All Saints' Day. That's what we're celebrating. But it originated in Gaelic culture, where they got together and they celebrated Samhain. And they had a bonfire and festivities and remembered their loved ones. And the ancient Celtic pagans, really, they really recognized that this time of year is opportune for connecting with their loved ones who have passed on. And they gather around burial mounds, and they see it as sort of portals to the other world. And so it's interesting how a lot of us have a longing to connect. People everywhere have a longing to connect. And for whatever reason, this time of year seems to be opportune to do that. The veil seems to be very thin, making that communication easier. And again, people everywhere have a longing to have a connection and a remembrance. And, sometimes we lose people that we haven't felt that we've completed the communication. Sometimes people left before we were able to get there, or suddenly, or when we were very young, right? And so we have a need to express how much we love them, or maybe that we forgive them, or maybe now let them know that we're okay. So it's a basic human need, and it's okay to honor that, you know? Now, Unity has no set beliefs about what happens after we die. There's a general understanding that life is eternal, you know, that the soul evolves, right? That it doesn't, and you know, when we shuffle off the mortal coil, it's not like that's the end. There is a continuance, right? But other than that, you're free to believe whatever you want. And some people believe that the soul gets reabsorbed into the universal divine light, that you don't keep your individual soul identity, and you know, you just sort of merge with the whole. Other people believe you do keep your individual soul identity, and that continues on and evolves. Some people believe you take your karma with you. Other people believe in reincarnation, you know, that you're reincarnated as another human on this planet. Let's do it over again. Let's do it again. Give me another chance. I get another opportunity to do this. Get it right. You know, or on this planet, or who knows, maybe beyond. So it's up to you, you know, to discover for yourself. But in one way or the other, when we release this human physical body, it's just the end of one chapter and the beginning of the next in this endless, eternal experience of life. And one thing is for sure. Those that we have loved are with us in some fashion. That love doesn't die. That love is eternal. That love continues. You know, as someone once said, Henry Ward Beecher, what the heart has once owned, it shall never lose. What the heart has once owned, it shall never lose. And it's not just the love that survives. It's also what they brought to our lives. You know, the lesson maybe they taught us, or the gift that they gave us that is with us still. And remembering that's important. You know, their lives made a difference in our life. And it's important to keep that alive, to acknowledge it every now and then. So that is what we're going to do today. And I know many of you did get the memo that to bring a picture of a loved one. And in a little bit, I'm going to invite you to come up, and I'll demonstrate it in just a second. We're going to speak into this mic because so that everybody can hear. You show us the picture, say who it is, and share one thing, the biggest thing that that person brought to you, the biggest gift that they gave. And I know maybe some of you didn't know that there was, you know, we were going to do this today. So just hold it in your heart. You know, there must be someone, right, that you want to hold in your heart, or hold it with us in this community as we hold our loved ones together. All right, so I want to demonstrate this. So you'll come to the mic. And so many of you know that I lost my brother this year. This is William Loveland, Bill Loveland. And April 3rd, he made his transition. The thing that he taught me, the biggest gift he gave to me, was laughter. Apparently, I was a really serious kid. I don't remember, but I'm told he opened that up. He helped me to see the humor in things, and to laugh, and to have fun. This is my sister Mary Ann, the artist. 4 months after I lost my brother, lost my sister. It's been quite the year. And I've shared with you that She helped me to see life from an artist's eye, with an artist's view. She helped me to acknowledge, to see, to find the beauty in ordinary things. That's Marianne. How far can this come over? Is this, unwrap it a little bit? So I'll invite you one at a time to come up and share your memory. Remember the one big thing that they gave you, and place it here at the end. We'll bless them all. All right. Someone needs to mute their phone there.
I didn't get the memo. It's okay. I want to honor my mother. I do believe in reincarnation and have been thinking about that over this last month as I made a presentation on death at a professional conference. And remembered that we have a soul contract, if you believe in reincarnation, that we come down to earth with a soul contract with another person to evolve our soul. And my mother, I had a really challenging relationship with her, really challenging. And I started thinking, what was their soul contract? And what I realized is through our challenging and loving relationship, we healed generations back of ancestral wounds. That is her gift to me, as well as a ton of life skills.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Who would like to step up now? Kellen.
Hello, everyone. I have two pictures. I have my father, who passed away December 23rd, 2019. This is him. The day when I found that he passed away, I just felt love in my heart. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, it was beautiful just to it's that moment where you don't even know how to think, but it's like this love came to my heart. So that's what I have from my father. Yeah. And then the second person, it's my friend who passed away this year in January. That was sudden. And from him, he was, I say he was my angel here, because I would always talk to him, and he was just always there for me. And there's a lot of things that I've learned from him that I still, all his positive talk. So these are two people that I want to honor because they are very dear to me. So thank you.
Yeah, you can. There you go. Mel?
All right, guys, this is not the best picture. I just printed it off, but it is of my grandmother, mon grand-mère Aline, on the French side. We did a lot of shopping, and she was really funny, and I enjoyed her love. She loved to love.
She loved to love. Cheryl. Oh, big one.
So this is me overachieving. This is not a picture. But this is a collage that I created in 1985. And it's old pictures of both my mom and my dad. And so from my dad, I learned that I don't need anyone else to complete me. And from my mom, I learned that regardless of how complex the relationship is, there is love there. And it will get you through the really tough times. Thank you.
Do you want to leave it up here? Oh, we're gonna bless them. Yeah, there we go.
This is my father, Ray Hewitt. He died when I was 7 years old, and so this is basically the vulnerability of love.
Do you want to leave it up here? Vulnerability of love. Wow. Here. Over here. That's great. Karen.
This is my father and my mother. I have a picture of them together, but it's quite large. And what my father taught me, he was a marathon runner. And he used to run up the mountain. And he'd say, girl, he'd say, you know what delights me? You know what I like about getting to the top of that mountain? And I was thinking, oh, getting to the top of it. But he'd say, no, it's seeing that there's another mountain I can run across. So he was like that. He was very positive. And then my mother was more practical, but she taught me that you could probably solve any problem or fix anything. We had sewing when I was in school, and I had a puff sleeve blouse, and I cut the sleeve off of it. I didn't know what to do, and I was too shy to ask the teacher and felt stupid about doing that. And I took it home, and she said, that's not a problem. You can just cut the other one off. So I was blessed to have two great parents. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, let's leave it over here. Okay, great. Thank you.
I have photos of two fathers here and one mother. This is a photo of my father and mother during the war. I lost my father when I was 11. My memories have faded, but I do have memories of how much fun he was. And he was on the road a lot, and he'd come back and the doorbell would ring. And I'd run to the door, and there'd be a watermelon with a lit sparkler in it. and he'd come in the back door. My mother remarried when I was 16, the day that Lee Harvey Oswald was shot. It's one of those memories that'll never go away, but this is my stepfather, my mother and my stepfather. My stepfather taught me the value of enduring support. He just never stopped supporting me in every sense. And my mother was the sweetest person I've ever met in my life. In our neighborhood growing up, she was known as Auntie B. And when I always post a picture of her on her birthday, and my friends, who are quite old now, still remember her and always post a response to how wonderful and loving she was. She was the pinnacle of unconditional love.
I had this here at church with some flowers, but this is my mother, Beth McKee, who passed away January of this year. But her biggest strength was her strength and perseverance. She went through a lot, and she suffered a lot because of what she went through. But her humor, her intelligence, her creativity, and her love for God always seemed to get her through it. And I'll miss that. But it does live on. So this is Mayor Baba, who she would tell everybody about, no matter who they were or how much they wanted to listen. But her just the belief that he instilled in her and her family of choice was that there's something beyond this world that is completely safe and loving and untouched by our human judgments. And I'm really grateful that I got to know about that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know, part of this process is also to help us heal. It is part of a grieving healing process, this whole thing that we're doing together in sacred community. Okay.
This is a picture of my father, John Bushnell, and my mother, Donna Bushnell, who were inseparable. They met when they were 17. She was in her bathing suit by the swimming pool in California that her family built. But my dad, what I wanted to share with you is that I stood on this right here, over 20 years ago for my dad's memorial service. And he was so loved that people flew from all over the United States for his memorial service. And my mother, who was blind, was here, and my brother was here. And my mother asked me to read her memorial, and it was 16 pages. I got to page 15, and my brother came up, because I was crying, came up and finished it for me. But anyway, my dad was a cultural anthropologist who studied with Margaret Mead and Leakey, and he taught me and my brother, AC or Alan, to respect all cultures, all human beings, all living things on this planet. And he taught me my first 3 guitar chords, too. So anyway, he was a wonderful inspiration, and they were inseparable for over 60 years.
Wow. Do you want to leave this here? Okay. I'll put it up. Come on up, Dolores.
That was really touching. This is a picture of my father with his sister and the family. He spent the Depression times and World War II on the farm in Oklahoma. My father, Kenneth Ray Touchtone, and his sister, Dolores Faye Touchtone. She gave me her name. She tragically passed away. He had a tragic childhood. He taught me curiosity, the sense of reading, communicating with people, that importance of connection, as well as perseverance, because he got through a lot, and he left too soon. So he's been gone more than half my life, and yet I still feel that connection with him today and onward. I want to recognize someone who took over after him. After he left, I had a mentor named Jack Kent that I worked for, and he taught me to trust again. So anyway, my dad and his sister, thank you.
Thank you.
Does it matter?
Yeah, that's good.
This is a picture of my brother who passed a couple of years ago, and my mom and dad, my mom just passed 98 last year. My mom taught me you could make something from nothing. She just had such a way to do that. My dad taught me wisdom. He was always saying sayings that stuck with me and were very deep. And my brother taught me silly, fun stuff, so just to be social and friendly and all that stuff. So, love my family.
Thank you. That's good.
This is a picture of my dad. His name is Vincent. He passed away in May of this year, and he taught me to keep the love of family. That was his mission in life, was to take care of his family. And literally to the day before he passed away, he was worried about my mom. And my brother and I would reassure him that she was okay. He was a very hard worker and always believed in our family, my brother and I. So I miss him very much, but I also honor the great gift and his wonderful 95 years that he had in this world.
I come from a scrapbook family. I failed to bring 88 scrapbooks. If you see me, you see my parents. I had really wonderful parents. They didn't have much in common. What they had in common was me. Both of my parents wanted to be with me. They worshiped me. They are responsible for my positive self-image that I've never been able to get past.
Good.
That's hard to follow. This is a picture of my mother on her 90th birthday. She was a dancer, and she danced till the end. There's a short poem that my sister wrote, and I'm just going to read that. That'll let you know a little bit more about my mother. She was friendly and kind and very outgoing. When her feelings were hurt, she kept them from showing. Most of her life, she worked very hard, even as a child in the farmyard. She loved many things, Lawrence Welk, Brian Williams, but dancing with her husband, she treasured the most. And when they were royalty, she would never boast. She was known by many for all her walking, and on the phone, she was always talking. She loved most animals, but her passion was kittens. She often would say, "Aren't they the little Dickens?" We miss her dearly, but one thing that my mother did leave with me, and that was introducing me to unity. And so she's my guiding light, even when she's not here.
Oh, lovely. Judith.
This is my husband, Mark Edward Schneider, and I lost him 2.5 years ago. And Mark was just this amazing man. He was a talented musician. He was a psychologist who helped so many people. He was a water spirit. And I swear, no matter where we traveled, Mark always had to find a place to scuba dive. And I think our family has seen every aquarium across the nation. It was always, we've got to go to the aquarium. I think the greatest gift that Mark has shared, and he shared so many, was the gift of adventure. I don't think I was a particularly adventurous individual when we first married, but he shared that gift with me, and he shared what it was like to cherish every moment on this earth, and I'm eternally grateful to him for that. Thanks.
Thank you. Here, lean it up against that.
So these are my parents. Today, my father actually passed
Oh,
away.
could you speak in front of the microphone?
My father actually passed away on All Saints' Day.
Oh.
So, and one thing
that he gave us was a sense of partnership. My parents ran a business from our house. We couldn't move. There were 4 children. We couldn't move because they had this business there, and complications on account of that. So there were 4 kids brought up in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. And a lot of partnership went in on that, and a lot of love. They did a lot of things together, and just such a good way to be brought up. My mom, she's hugging my granddaughter right here, and as I was getting ready for this and reading over one thing, one of her nieces wrote and said, everyone was always welcome. She always had a kind word for everyone. And my boyfriends were always invited. They came over, coffee around the kitchen table. The servicemen, we ran a business. They all sat around the kitchen table. The cleaning lady was my mom's best friend. She sat around the kitchen table with us. And so I grew up with a real sense of community. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful for that.
Thank you. Do you want to leave it here? Here, let's put it up.
Thank you, Facebook. I found a picture of my dad. It's so 70s. And look at him smoking a pipe. Yeah. He was very charismatic. Everyone loved him. He left a big hole, I think, in a lot of people's lives. However, he exposed me, gave me the gift of music. He was a pianist and a choir director, church organist, and just like loved music so much. He was so happy, so joyful when he played music. And one of my fondest memories is, I think I was about 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8, and there was a song, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, called "Spinning Wheel." Yeah. And one time we were at a friend's house and he was playing the majority of the song, but I was playing the bass notes, the bass part, and it was like the happiest moment of my little life at that point. It was really, really special, and I think about that a lot. Even though he was complicated and obviously had his flaws, as we all do, smoking being one of them, in my opinion, he impacted a lot of lives, and mine included.
Thank you. Okay. All right, let's see. Michael, we may go a little bit longer today.
So this is my dad, Robert Crawford. This is my dad, Robert Crawford, and he passed in 2018. As you can see, one of his favorite things was catching all the fish. There's 2 fish in this picture that he caught on one lure somehow. And so some of my favorite memories are that I'm very grateful for is fishing with him when I was young. We would go to lots of places, farm ponds around our house, and combined with this, the biggest thing that he taught me that I'm grateful for is his biggest gift was he could fix pretty much anything aside from computers. Like appliances, air conditioners, cars. It was crazy.
Handy.
Like,
very handy.
Everyone knew him as the guy to call if they needed someone to fix stuff. And he loved it. He would just relish in being able to help people. And so that was his biggest gift to me, is just to carry on that sense of helpfulness and selflessness.
Okay. A couple more? Yeah. Jim? Okay.
So, like one other person at least, all I have are electrons today. But these are my parents, Marshall Walker and Francis Walker. And I'm thinking of my father particularly because he passed away 30 years ago as of last month, Alzheimer's. And I'm thinking of one thing is like I had him in the car took him out for a ride because my mother took care of him during that period a lot. So to give her a rest, I'd take him for rides. And on one of those rides, he told me, and I really couldn't recall hearing this before then, it was like, you know, Tim, I love you. And the other thing, my mother, this is a story I've probably told many of you in this room, but Mary Angela, when she met my mother for the first time, we're in her house, and she's got like 6 or 7 Bibles up on the shelf. And Mary Angela says, "You've got a lot of Bibles here, Mrs. Walker. What is your favorite Bible verse?" And no one had ever asked her that before, and it's a verse from Philippians. I think it's 2 Philippians. I always can't remember the verse in the chapter. But it basically says, think on good things. Only good things.
Wonderful gift. Thank you, Tim. Okay, does anybody have... Kathleen, do you have a picture? Would you stand up here in front of the mic?
Hi, my name is Kathleen, and I was a member here for a number of years, and I came back to visit my friends today. And I want to talk about my mother. She had a hard life. She was one of 8 children of Hungarian peasants. Didn't learn English till she was 7, even though she was born in the United States, because her mother didn't learn English till my mother went to school. So anyway, having said all that, the biggest gift my mother gave me, and consequently my family, is freedom from prejudice. And my family is a beautiful example of that. I have 3 biological children, 2 adopted children, 11 grandchildren, some adopted, some biological. I have black children and black grandchildren. I have lesbian children and lesbian grandchildren. I have, I mean, you just kind of name it, and we're a beautiful picture of my mother's lessons. And I am incredibly proud of that. And the kids, everybody, they just all love each other so much. So it's just a beautiful gift she gave. She had a hard life. She didn't have much joy in it, but she gave us that gift, which keeps going on. And I love her for that.
Thank you. Frank, did you have something you wanted to share? Do you need some help getting up to the... Did you have a picture? No? I'm wrong. Okay. I thought maybe you had a picture.
Hello, everyone. Briefly, this is my mother and father on their wedding day in 1943 in the middle of the war in Glendale, California, where they were both building bombers. My dad didn't have service because of that was considered an essential industry. And they decided then they wanted their children to have independent minds. So as you get to know my sister and me, you'll have to decide whether that came true or not. They both lived a lot of my life. From my dad, I learned, well, I saw a portrayal of perseverance and dependability. And from Mom, inspiration, optimism, and creativity. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Would you like to leave it here? And we will bless it? Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Oh, we'll just lay it right here. Okay, maybe one more. Okay.
There's everybody here from my family already passed. I'm the oldest one. My brother passed 3 years ago in the age of 33, and he couldn't hear, so he's handicapped. He was able to use to his advantage very nicely. So he just once, as fun with his friend from the school who couldn't hear also, just stand in front of McDonald's, and just beg the money, because McDonald's was very expensive for us. It was like a Gibson's steakhouse. So he just said, I'm dead, and people give him money, and he come home, and my mom says, he's not hungry, he's not eating dinner, he's not eating dinner. After 3 days, he's like, our neighbor was lucky to tell us that he was standing in front of McDonald's begging money. My mother lost it, and and he comes home with balloon from McDonald's, and my mom met him with the belt,
Oh.
That was a story. My grandma loved the flowers. She provided flowers for our small church neighborhood, so it's kind of my thing to do here. With flowers came out, I think, from her. My grandfather, he loved to have fun. Today, I dreamed of them both, so this is probably a sign that he's still around and today.
That's beautiful. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Do we feel complete? All right. Wonderful. Okay, so let's bless all of these wonderful, amazing human beings. You'll join me and, close your eyes and feel that divine life energy flowing through you and out through your hands. And just feel the energy of each of these individuals. Feel their heart. That love is right here, right now, isn't it? It's so present. That love is eternal. We give tremendous thanks for all of the gifts that these individuals gave us. All of the lessons, all the blessings in our lives. Their lives touched ours. And we honor that, we appreciate it, we give thanks for their life. And we know that wherever they are in the eternal now, in the eternal, universal, spiritual now, there is peace, there is love, there is oneness. And so it is. Namaste.